Are you ready to take off but feel weighed down? Just like a plane can't soar with too much baggage, we can't grow when we're carrying fear and unforgiveness. That's where Fear and Forgiveness, a 16-day devotional and fasting journal, comes in. This book was created to help you release what's holding you back and move forward. Whether you use it as a standalone devotional or pair it with fasting, these 16 days will transform your heart, mind, and spirit. It's time to let go and rise higher. Grab your copy of Fear and Forgiveness today at barnesandnoble.com. Welcome to the G.L.O.E podcast, where we talk all things God, life, the ups and downs, organization, because chaos is not cute, and entrepreneurship, aka chasing those dreams. Here, we glow boldly and live purposefully. I'm your host, Angel, and around here, we keep it real, mixing faith, strategy, and a few laughs along the way. Whether you're trying to get your business together, organize your life, or just need a little motivation, you're in the right place. If you've been hanging around for a while, welcome back, and I hope you bought a friend. If you're new here, welcome. Get comfy and stay a while. Today, I am talking with Adriana, an award-winning business consultant and technical writer who helps business leaders streamline their processes, build strong teams, and scale sustainably. Everyone, let's welcome Adriana. Hi, Adriana. How are you?
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to have you here. So everyone, fun fact. So I had actually discovered Adriana a couple of years ago when I first started doing my business, and she has a business called the Lazy Millennial. And I was like, oh, wow, this business looks so cool. Like, this is someone I would love to connect with. But that was when I was still new in business. And I was still kind of scared to reach out to people and kind of talk to people and stuff. So I was just like, oh, she's really cool. So I didn't connect with her. And then one day on LinkedIn, maybe about a year or so later, I think she connected with me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, she connected with me. I feel so special. I feel so cool. So I am not a fangirl in the sense of I get starstruck or celebrity struck or anything like that. But I am a fangirl in the sense of how I saw you, and I was like, oh, she's out there, she's doing her thing. It's really cool. Or there's there's a podcast that I listen to, and I talked about it before, and I am a fangirl. I'm starstruck when it comes her podcast. So I get starstruck on just the everyday, normal people. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she sent me on LinkedIn. You do too? Okay. Oh my gosh. She knows who I am. So I'm like, well, how did she pop up on her radar? So anyways, fast forward, and then I saw that she posted at the end of last year, she posted on Threads about wanting to do a networking event in Monk's Corner, which is the area that I am in outside of Charleston. Nobody knows where Monk's Corner is, so gotta say Charleston.
Right, exactly.
And so we did the networking event, and we kind of connected even on another level from there. And now she's on the show. So thank you again. I'm so excited to have you here and chat with you.
Me too. Oh my gosh. I was like, it's always so weird when I mention Monk's Corner. So I'm just like, okay, Charleston. It's like, okay, actually, we're in Monk's Corner. So does that work for you guys?
Yeah, it's you say that, and people are like, huh? And so I tell people, I'm like, oh yeah, I live in Charleston. And they're like, oh, okay. And then that's how you can either tell if people, whenever you live in a smaller town and you mention the bigger city that's around, you can always tell people who know it and who don't know it versus if they just say, okay, when you say the big city, or if they say what part, then you're like, okay, well, maybe you're a little bit familiar. Let me go into a little bit of a deeper, thing. Monk's Corner people are still some people are like, oh yeah, people who are actually from the area or know the area, but other people are like, and then if I say, well, Somerville, they're like, oh yeah. I'm like, okay, so I'm closer to Somerville than I am to Charleston. Yeah, it's a one day. So we'll get there.
Exactly.
So the Lazy Millennial. First of all, I love the name. I love the name. I think it's absolutely awesome. You're welcome. So how did that come about? How did you create the Lazy Millennial?
Okay, so I started my business back in 2018. During that time, I ran a virtual assistant company. And with that, okay. So I'm going to give the very sped up version of the virtual assistant, because that's a whole other episode that could be. But anyway, so
been there, done that.
Business. Yeah, Lord Jesus. But yeah, so starting as a regular virtual assistant, I ended up getting clients pretty quickly. And at that time I was pregnant. I don't know. I wasn't planning on really starting a business, wasn't planning on getting pregnant either, but here we are. But
Right.
had that. So I was like, okay, I got to learn how to delegate and all this stuff sooner and actually have subcontractors. I was like, I'm starting to pick up speed, but I can't afford for my clients to I can't afford to drop the ball pretty much for my clients and stuff. So hired some subcontractors, did not work out, went through like a whole spiel. And then by 2020, I had a little bit more structure. So I was like, we're getting a good influx of clients each month. And at that time, I think I had like 8 or 9 women work with me. So by that,
Cool.
anyway, so I had that, and then I hated it. Like I dreaded getting up in the morning. I was at the point where like I was getting up at like 4 a.m. just to start getting work done. And like even though I had people working with me,
Yeah.
I didn't have like a good enough system. I didn't have systems in place pretty much. So like I didn't have a good enough system to like pass things on to them. Yeah, it was just a hot excuse me. It was just
No,
a
you're
hot mess.
fine.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, excuse me, y'all. It was just a hot mess. I just like thinking back to it. It was a hot mess. But anyway, 2020, I decided I hated it. So what I ended up doing was cutting off a good bit of my clients, or let me not say cut off, like I rehomed them. Like I gave them to other I gave them to my other subcontractors. I kept a couple on, and I was just like, okay, let me figure out how I want to build out this business that reflects what I want to do. And I was like, let me settle on something too. Because at that time, I was just taking on any type of client. Like I was just doing everything. I was doing social media, websites, like all that. I'm like, what exactly do you want to do, Adriana? And I was like, okay, I still like writing, but I don't really like doing content writing anymore because it kind of made it less fun. So I was like, okay, what are people reaching out to me for? And that's when I realized like people like me, they either did have stenography procedures but didn't work really well, or they just didn't have them at all. So I was like, okay, there's something there. I'm gonna explore that a little bit. So I started like kind of doing things for my clients under the table, and I realized one, they didn't really need to hire right away, and then two, it was just like, okay, the documentation piece is something that needs to kind of keep going. But kind of fast forward to why I named the Lazy Millennial. Honestly, I see delegation as being not lazy, but like it's the lifestyle. I call it like the lazy lifestyle. It's just like once you delegate the right way and stuff, like you're able to be lazy. I'm doing air quotes, y'all. Being
Yes.
lazy and stuff. And then millennial, I'm millennial. There's
Right.
nothing fancy there. It's just I'm a millennial,
You
guys.
at least you are, you actually are a millennial. I was having a conversation, at work the other day with some of my coworkers because they're all young. Like I knew that they were younger than me, but we started
Right.
talking and I said something and I was like, wait, what year were you born? And she's like 2005. I was like, what? And then the other one was like 2004. And I'm like, huh? And so another one was like, well, I'm not with them. She was like, I was born in 99. So I'm a millennial. I was like, no, ma'am, you're not a millennial. Please do not
No.
claim being a millennial. I was like, you were Gen Z. She's like, no, I'm not. I was like, I literally just looked up the whole generational thing the other day. I was like, you're Gen Z. I said, I'm gonna pull it up again just so you can see. I was like, do not claim, I was like, do not claim being a millennial and you're not a millennial. And I told her, she's like, but I was like, you're Gen Z, accept it. So thank you for actually being a millennial and putting that
You're welcome.
in
And
your
that throws
title.
me off hearing that too. Like people say, like, oh, I hear 20. I'm like, oh, get out of here. Yeah, I'm getting not old, but I'm just like, oh wow, like this is weird.
Yeah, when she said she was born in 2004, I was like, I graduated high school in 2004. I was like, oh, cool, cool. So yeah, I felt kind of some type of way about that, but yeah, I love it. I love how because some people will think about delegating as like being lazy, but it's not actually lazy. It's helping you. But I love the fun play on the name because it makes people want to know what you do. And it sounds very interesting. And I mean, yeah, I just don't know what to say. Like it's very interesting.
Yeah,
It's a great play on the name. And then it really fits into what it is that you do. Like just looking at the name, you may not know what it is, but once you find out what it is that you do, it's like, oh, this is perfect. Like this is
right.
great. So okay, I love it. So why is it important to document your processes and how does someone get started with doing that?
Okay, so one of my favorite quotes, it's one of my favorite quotes, and I can't remember who said it, but like it was, if you don't write things down, it doesn't exist. So like I like live by that for business. So it's like we kind of like get started in business. I'll say for like myself, like I just kind of like rammed into business and like didn't
Mhm.
really think of like, okay, where do exactly I want this to go at? And like how do I plan to like actually transition out of it when the time comes? And like as I was like trying to delegate and hiring other people, I was just like, I don't have anything written down for them, like no systems, no nothing for them to even like follow. So it's just like no wonder why everything was a mess because like I'm giving them nothing. Like there's no documentation, there's no proof that I'm actually running a real business. So it's just kind of like
Right.
a whole thing. But anyway, so there's that. And then when it comes to actually starting, I like to tell people just start with what is easier for you. So like documentation may look different. Like for me, I'm a pen and paper type of person. There are some people that thrive off audio notes and videos and stuff. So I'm just like, if documentation works for you that way, like you just want to make sure you have proof of your existence. So like if you're operating a certain way, that's what you're kind of not kind of that's what you are writing down or documenting.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I am a pen and paper type of girl. I've said it before. Like I've tried digital planners. It doesn't work for me.
Same.
I will use my notes app. I utilize my notes app like quite a lot. But other than that, like I can't get into the digital planners. I can't get into the digital right now because one, I like to color coordinate a lot of things that I'm doing when I'm using like my regular everyday planner that I have. I'm currently it's off to my side here and I'm like just glancing at it. And there's like three different colors on there because to me the color is what makes it stick out and I can kind of look and be like, okay, this
Right.
color is such and such. But when you're trying to do it on the digital planner, it just got very frustrating to me to have to like keep switching in between colors with it. And then I felt like because it was on the digital planner, I'm like, oh, I can be fancy and I can like change the handwriting up or we'll change the font up. So then I'm taking forever to pick out a font, whereas I'm like, I'm writing it. It's my font. Like,
So that's my thing. Like I feel like I just overdo stuff. I'm just like, Audrey, just settle on something. I can't.
I can't. No, I literally sit there for like 10 minutes trying to pick out a font, and then I get mad. I'm like, I don't really like that. And then I find one that I like, and then I get mad when I go back the next time and it wasn't the same font, or when it wasn't like fitting into the little box or something perfect. And I was like, you know what? This is not for me. It's just not. And one time, no, more than one time, I like erased something or I accidentally like deleted a page and I couldn't find the undo button. So that just made me even more mad because I'm like, well, great. Now it's all gone. What am I supposed to do?
Exactly.
How do I get this back? So no, I'm gonna stick with my pen and paper. That may be a millennial thing. I don't know, but I'm sticking with my pen and paper until I die or until they tell me that pen and paper is no longer available, which the way they're cutting down trees, paper could very well not be
I
available here
know.
soon.
I'm just like, I'm trying to ignore it. I see it. I'm just like, it's gonna happen one day. And I was like, I am so not ready for it.
I'm not. I mean, well, we live in basically the same area, so every day I'm like, oh, they cleared something else out. I'm like, oh,
That's
well,
how
where?
I feel.
I was like, where? So okay, nobody else is gonna know what we're talking about, but I don't really care because we're here and we talk about whatever we want to talk about. So, are you familiar with? Do you know where they built that new Parkers at?
Yes.
Okay,
Hmm.
so I saw him clearing out the land and I was just like, okay, cool. And I was like, well, what the heck is going here? And one day I was just driving because you get in the habit of just like driving. And so I'm just like driving. And I was like, did I pass my house? Did I pass the turn? None of this looks familiar to me anymore. I was like, what is going on over here? And then I was just said, oh, they've cut everything down. So now I no longer know where I'm at on my route home. And I was like, all these trees just gone.
I
Just
thought that
gone.
was just me too. It's just like it throws me off. I was like, I see like a bunch of clear land. I use like the trees and stuff as like landmarks for where I'm going.
Yes, like certain things are landmarks, and I'm just like, that was not on my landmark when I left the house this morning, and now I'm coming back,
Mhm.
and it is on my landmark, and I'm confused. But we're gonna
Yeah.
utilize our pen and paper. I do try to recycle, so I will like write on the backs
Yeah.
of papers and stuff like that, trying to help out save as many trees as I can here, so we can have something to write on.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. And I do the same thing. I was like, I
Okay.
cannot lose this.
Okay, I'm glad somebody else understands me and my pen and paper habits that I
Right.
have over here. So how often should you update your processes?
I like to say, well, first off, for like when it comes to documenting, like you don't have to write down every little thing. And I think too, because I tended to, I did that too. Like that was my mistake. Like I felt like I had to write down every little thing. It's just like if I'm focusing on something for like the month, I will write that down and call it a day and make sure it's something I'm actually following. So like when it comes to updating the processes, it honestly, I got into the habit of doing it because I change my mind a lot in
Mm,
business. So like I'll update as I change my mind. But honestly, you can do like every 6 to 12 months. It just depends
Okay.
how frequently you make changes inside your business.
Okay. Okay. No, that makes sense. And I mean, I think the documenting every little thing, it's actually it can be a good thing. I'm pretty sure it's like really tedious, but if it's something
Mhm.
that you're going to hand off to someone else, you want them to know like steps 1 through 55, what steps 1B, steps 2C, because when you're in the habit of doing something so much yourself, you kind of forget and you're like, okay, well, I don't really actually need step 2C. I can just do this. But if it's someone new doing that and they don't know how the system works or anything, they're sitting there, they're like, well, how did I go from 2B to 2D? And now they're kind of confused. So I think it's really good if you're documenting it, especially with the hopes of being able to pass it off to someone else
Right.
to document every little thing. I think you could, in that case, it's okay to over document, I'll say.
Yeah, I was saying like that's the main thing too. Like you can document things for like your records. I like to
Mhm.
tell people like to kind of like think in advance, like scaling or exit planning, like what kind of stuff will the other person need to know. So it's like whenever it comes to documenting, what does someone else need to know? And then when it comes to like I split it up between process documentation and SOPs, they're still somewhat the same thing, but anyway. So state operating procedures, these are things that you give to somebody else. So like if you delegate or exit plan and stuff, that kind of stuff is what they need. But like when it's just you, keeping like little notes, like what technology you're using and stuff is just
Okay.
plenty. Little things like that.
Okay, got you. And so then you actually brought up something that I wanted to ask you too. So how does planning your exit strategy help you with running a business?
I'll say it definitely gives you something to work towards. Like I know we all work towards like, yes, we want to grow, or like some people's plans is like scaling and stuff, but it really like helps you come up with like a solid plan when you actually know how you want to exit. So like if you plan on selling or if you plan on like kind of just running the business until you don't feel like it anymore, it just gives you something to kind of like, okay, this is my timeline, no matter it be like a few years, 20 years, whatever it is, like this is what I'm working towards. This is the kind of stuff I actually need to build towards. It's kind of people I need for me to maintain, like for me to sell years from now or whatever it is, like it gives you an actual concrete like path for business versus like if we're just kind of running our business. Like I'll say for myself, when I started my business, I wasn't working towards anything. I kind of was just growing with no plan in sight. So like that's how I ended up stuck in my business. Versus now I'm actually like growing because I know I want to sell my company down the line. So I just need to figure out what kind of steps are going to take me there, what kind of systems I have to place for that, and what kind of information the next person's going to need to run it.
Oh, got you. That yeah, that makes sense. And so we may have touched on this a little bit, but I'm just going to bring it back again.
Mhm.
What is like a piece of advice that you would give someone who is like, okay, I want to start coming up with my exit strategy for my business? What would you tell them?
Okay, I'll say one, don't stay married to it because I change my mind at least every 3 to 6 months. I'm like, I don't think I want to do this again, but like at least have an idea. So I'll say, have an idea what you want. So that's the first thing. Have a general idea. Like, okay, you're starting this business. Why are you starting this business? And what does you being at the day to day look like? Is it look like you promoting somebody, selling completely, whatever? Then start planning out like where you're at now. So like if they're just starting out a business, like figuring out, okay, I know I am exiting this way. As of right now, let me figure out what I need to do for my business first so I can get to like the next level and kind of build that way. So my thing is have an idea. Don't stay married to it. It's okay if you're not. Like the main point of it is just to kind of give you guidelines for you to actually build something.
Okay. All right. Cool. I like that. Thank you. And so also, so gonna shift gears here a little bit, kind of throw this
Okay.
at you. So you are a mom, you are a wife, you are a business owner. How do you stay organized and keep all of that balance with everything that you have going on?
I would say one, therapy. My therapist helps. Yeah, like I had to really learn how to like build out the right systems in my household, and of course, not asking for help. My thing is because it's like I know what I'm doing, so I kind of get stuck into like I can do this, but like giving my husband things to do, and even my kids have like their tasks and stuff they need to do, and make sure they clean up and all this stuff. But like making sure I delegate to the right people, and then of course like having house cleaners and stuff come at least once a month. delegation is definitely my best friend. And then also too, like make accepting I can't do everything at once. So like I go by seasons. Like in this season, like it's gonna be work because like we're aggressively trying to pay off things and stuff. So like our mission right now is like we want to do more things that's gonna increase our revenue in the household. So it's just like
Mm.
certain things are gonna drop right now and learning to be okay with that until like the next season where it's like a season of rest or really focusing on like my kids' activities and stuff like that. It varies. I'll say going by seasons, delegation, and of course having like very strict day-to-day processes
Mhm.
that I follow in my house definitely helps.
Okay. Yeah, I had to really get my life together here over the past couple of weeks, months. I started doing time blocking a little bit more because I just felt like I wasn't accomplishing anything.
Yeah.
And I had like so much, there would be times that I literally just like sit at my computer. And so I finally started doing like time blocking, and that has helped. And as you said, just trying to not control everything or not like be in control, and just learn to let like some things go,
Yeah.
as long as it gets done, it gets done. So yeah, but it's hard. It's definitely hard.
It is.
I do want a house cleaner. I want somebody to come in here and like deep clean. I keep trying to talk my husband into letting me get one. Really, really working on that. So say a prayer for me on that one. But
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Just saying, like, just being able to come home and see everything done and just like maintaining is just
Right.
well worth it. Yeah.
I just really want like a nice, like, deep clean. And then after that, just someone to come in and dust and clean the baseboards. And I think that's really, I mean, I don't know, maybe fold the laundry so that it doesn't sit in the laundry basket. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, that's where I'm at. But I like that you kind of break things down into seasons. At first, when you said seasons, I thought you were going to be like summer, winter, spring, fall. I wasn't thinking
Yeah.
like I wasn't thinking about like seasons of life, which I guess I should have been because I was just having a conversation with someone about like seasons of life. But I was like, oh, so she has like, oh, it's the winter season, or oh, but no, you have like the season of life that you're
Right.
that you're in. So I'm not caffeinated enough yet either this morning. I need another cup of coffee. But I really like that you kind of like break that down, and this is what's happening for this season that we're in, and then this is how we're going to move forward with that. So I think that's a really good plan. Yeah.
You.
You're welcome. And so I'm guessing you mostly just you work from home, or do you have like was it like a co-working space that you go to, or you just work from home?
I just work from home, but I think this year I may venture out and get a co-working space just so I can kind of like get into like a different routine. Because like I
Mhm.
like working from home. I like the convenience of it, but like sometimes it does get lonely and sometimes it does get hard trying to
Mhm.
focus, like, right now, because I have a sibling live with me, so I don't have my office right now, so I'm kind of just, like, I call it out in the open. So it's
Gotcha.
just yeah, so it's just, like, that focus piece is in there. I'm just like, "Oh," I can just, like, look over, "Oh, I should clean that up," or, "I should do this." So, yeah,
Yeah,
it's on the plan.
okay, I understand. Yeah, I'm like, I want to just find a nice coffee shop to go to sometimes and just work from the nice coffee shop, because it does get boring just sitting in here in my space day in and day out. And I'm like, I need to get out of here. And I think that would help to like spark some of my creativity as well. But I'm like, I want like a nice, cute coffee shop that also has good coffee. And it just seems to be hard to find both of those combined together. So I'm still
Yeah.
working on that, because I prefer like a nice local shop, not like a big mom and pop, or I mean not like a chain or anything. I prefer something nice
Yeah.
and local. So that's my mission here.
Yeah, that's something I wanna do this year too. It's like there's so many, like, Charleston opened up a bunch, but Charleston's kinda far, but I was like, "I may venture out."
And that's what I'm like, I don't mind like venturing out, but then I work in the afternoons and I work from 2 to 5. And so part of me is like, okay, go venture out. But another part of me is like, then I gotta venture back in to,
Right.
do that. And it's like, well, do I leave at like 10 o'clock in the morning so I can get a good like 2.5 hours in? But what if I finish before this? Like all of this runs through my head. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, just sit at home, turn on a podcast, do what you gotta do, and call it
Right.
a day. So yeah. Well, is there anything else that you would like to share with us before we go today?
I think the only thing I want to say is don't feel rushed when it
Mhm.
comes to like documenting process and stuff. Cause like it's a whole lot of work, but find a system that works for you whenever you're doing it. Like just start off slow. I like having my little note section. I tell people like if you're on social media, jot down like the times you're commonly on there, just like little things, and then build off of that. So find something that works for you. That's my main thing. And I want to end on that note.
Okay, awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much again for being on here. And can you tell everyone where they can find you at and how they can connect with you?
Yeah, so you can find me. I mainly hang out on LinkedIn under Adriana Richardson. I'm also on Instagram and Threads, more so Threads. Instagram is just open because of Threads, but you can find me under that SOP chick Audrey or the Lazy Millennial, pretty much everywhere. And yeah, but mainly LinkedIn.
Okay. Awesome. Well, Adriana, thank you so much again. It was great chatting with you, and I will talk with you later.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Bye.
Hi. That's it for today's episode of the Glow Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're walking away with something that fuels your journey. And remember, glow boldly, live purposefully, and I'll talk to you next time. Y'all know I run on coffee, and so does the show. If you want to keep the episodes flowing, head over to buymeacoffee.com/themodcosc. Whether it's a one-time boost or monthly support, every cup helps keep this podcast going.